This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, everybody. Should we turn on the camera?
I just did.
Oh, you just did. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Well, welcome. Our June meeting, ECA.
Our late spring.
Unofficial summer. Yeah, and gosh, June came fast, so here we are. Do we have any public speak? Want to just mention
I will mention, some of you may have seen tonight that the side door to the building was locked. It now is locked after 5 due to increased security. There was an incident a handful of weeks ago, and so there have been some steps taken in response just to have increased safety in the building. So for our meetings, if you're used to coming in the side door, better to plan to come in the main entrance.
Did this incident play into the extra safety precautions for Cultural Chaos?
Not at all. Those have been in the works since December.
Okay, thanks for just letting us know, because that's a door that gets used a lot, so it will just save some confusion. Okay, so anybody else public speak? Okay, let's just go on into it. Updates.
All right. We've got Art Walk coming up this Saturday, and we have 3 new venues participating in Art Walk, which I think is just great. 2 of them are relatively new businesses. One is 84.5 on Cottage Street. It's a hair salon, but they want to be known as more like a gathering space where there's also a hair salon. So there will be a featured artist each month, and Jamie has just been great. She has made a generous donation toward Cultural Chaos this year. And
She's the owner.
Mm-hmm. And has attended one of our cultural district meetings, so it's great to have her on board. Dry Humor on Union Street will be participating in Art Walk as well. They have an artist on the wall. And then the Out of Office Gallery, which is on Maple Street. It's a community members' residence Emma Chubb and her partner, she works as a curator at the Smith College Museum of Art. They transformed an outbuilding at their home with a really interesting history as a gathering space into a gallery, and they have their second show up right now, and it's the first time they'll be participating in Art Walk. So
Great.
So again, I've heard great things from people as far as numbers and attendees and just kind of good feelings and spirit. So I think our efforts to increase our marketing, to like really invest in that has been really good. And I'm just, really hoping that we continue to do that, which we'll talk about later in the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Art Walk's been going well.
Anything, Eastworks, anything happening out of, new there, or is it just the usual?
I don't know. Well, Easthampton Skate Club participated in Art Walk for the first time last month. I don't know of any other new happenings there.
Okay. All right.
There's a maker space just around the corner from the skate park, inside the basement.
Oh, yeah.
As well, and I was surprised that we went there and it wasn't open. I was like, oh, okay. Is there, so is the outreach for Art Walk primarily coming from the current Eastworks folks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an important thing to get on our.
Well, there was a, what is the printer that had a grand opening, was it last month?
I think it was a
Are they still,
Maybe it was last month.
so maybe hopefully will still participate. I think we need to maybe find out,
And a number of artists are opening their
Yeah,
studios
yeah,
too,
so.
which has been new in recent months.
great. Awesome.
In fact, they were all artists that used to be in Cottage Street.
Right.
3 studios, 4 artists across the studios, very consistently participating in
Yeah.
Art Walk and Eastworks. Yeah.
Amanda Barrow, I know, does a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Great. All right, so that will lead us into Art in the Garden, right?
Yeah, so that's also coming up this Saturday from 2 to 5. And we had a planning meeting this morning. Things are in really good shape. It's 5 locations and 7 artists. 4 of them are home residences and 1 of them is Galaxy. Casey, once again, is being incredibly generous, opening when they're not open to, provide some refreshments and public restrooms for the event. And my colleagues in the planning and DPW departments made site visits with all of the locations, took pictures, like it's been very supported. We really would not have been able to do this event right now, the week before Cultural Chaos, if they were not doing a lot of administrative work and a lot of the sort of organizing and support roles. So I'm very appreciative of that. We met today in terms of like what the rain plan's gonna be because, and we're days away, so things will change. But the weather's looking rainy at this point. And
weekend, so. The weekends have just been rainy.
It always rains on the weekend, right?
It has, yeah.
So we really talked through lots of different possibilities, and like we just kept coming to the conclusion of like we're gonna make the call at 8 a.m. that morning, and if some of the artists are like outdoor sculpture, they could be outside, but then we'd be asking people to be there, but attendance will most likely be down. Like if we can't do it as an event, we're not gonna do it, is kind of what we arrived at. So hopefully we're not gonna have to make a call like that. We're gonna send an email out. We didn't wanna be like too doom and gloom so far out, but on Wednesday or Thursday, send an email to all the participating artists and gardeners and let them know. But worst case, we're not able to do it this year because of weather. Like this event is so well, like it is so in place, and we've like ironed out so many details, and like there's a registration for it, like everything exists. So hopefully it's great weather. And
You have to register, or the artists?
The gardens, right?
The gardens.
yeah, like everything's in place.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we've created an event, like a well-supported event. I think it's really nice to have the different departments working together. And yeah, so everything's in place for a great event. There is a map. I didn't bring flyers, but there's an event program, and the map is on the program, and all the information's on the program. I'll send that out to everybody. Well, I'll include it in the newsletter, in the upcoming newsletter, which I hope will go out tomorrow.
Okay.
What time is the bluegrass thing?
It's at Art Walk, which is from 4 to 7.
So it starts at 4, right?
Okay, well, that goes into cultural chaos, which is in following week.
Yes, so we are 12 days out. Things are in good shape. Let's see. As I mentioned last meeting, and I will bring you up to speed, there are some significant changes this year. We've been working very closely with the Easthampton Police Department, the Fire Department, and DPW and planning to really coordinate efforts. There have been a number of instances in recent days and weeks and months of vehicles going through festivals, and so there will be hardened jersey barriers at every access point to Cultural Chaos. The DPW will be placing them from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. that morning, and then vendors will be able to load in from 10 a.m. to noon that day. We had always in the past had the vendors and tablers line up on Adams Street, and then they were directed either up the street or down the street, depending on where they're placed. And we ran into, just as the event continues to grow, the line on Adams Street is getting very long. It's a very residential area. It's very confusing. Like, we've had signage, we've had volunteers, we've had police details, but people will be in the line not knowing they're in a line. They think we've had like a PBTA bus in the line. Like, it's so new plan this year, we're all gonna line up on Williston. And they're gonna make a sharp turn after the Jersey barriers. And everything is like all coordinated, and we're encouraging people to come back, line up on Williston for the loadout in the afternoon. It's been really wonderful. The police department, fire department.
Is this street going to be closed?
No, so the street is open to two-way traffic, it always is, but it's wide enough that it can accommodate the line, no problem. And I spoke with Nonotuck Park, and they're notifying all of the Saturday activities, baseball, soccer, and the pavilion rentals, that Cultural Chaos is going on, and they're encouraging people to enter through the Park Street side of things. So I feel like there's just been a lot more coordination and communication among municipal departments. It feels like a huge support. It's great. The mayor's office has had a lot to do with that, and really just telling, it's like, make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. So that feels really good. And yeah, it's like, we just want a sunny day. That's the thing. We did get a new significant sponsor. I can't remember if I mentioned it at last. Greenfield Savings Bank, 2,500. So that's really good. It's also the first time in my time at ECA, 8.5 years, that I've asked businesses for financial contributions. They were always required before, but because of the increase in cost, I've let everybody know, and we've gotten 3 $250 donations from the street and 4 $100 donations. So that feels really good. I haven't sent a follow-up yet. That was like one ask.
3 $250.
And 4 $100. And I'm listing them all as sponsors and partners. So I feel really good about that. People, and I walked the street, I talked to everyone, I handed them the letter, and people just really understand and appreciate it. So so this week is a big marketing push. So I'm gonna do a Facebook event ad, Instagram ad, the Gazette, Mass Live, The Republican. It was in Easthampton Living. Lots of people are it was in Easthampton Media's newsletter today. People are putting the word out. We have more than 2,000 people responded on our Facebook event page. That's before the event was boosted, and last year it was like 1,700 people had replied. And it
So
was like our biggest one ever.
Say that again, 1,700 applied last year, or said they were coming last year, and how much this year?
More than 2,000, and that's before the ad has gone out. So, so yeah, I mean, who knows, maybe like, but, and then radio ads will happen for both Art Walk and Art in the Garden this week, and then Cultural Chaos this week and next week. Yeah, I
So,
just
so
wondered whether.
so the sponsors, where are you,
I didn't bring a poster up. So all of like the event sponsors like Mass Cultural Council, River Valley Co-op, Greenfield Savings Bank, anyone who donated before 2 weeks ago are on the printed poster. Oh, and
So
we
what about
made
these,
150 printed posters have been distributed. I ordered more lawn signs. We have 40 lawn signs in the area. I mean, I can give you the list of towns, but it's like through the region.
but the businesses that donated, will they be on the poster?
They're listed, they're not on the poster because the poster's printed, but
Okay.
I gave them 4 different tier options.
Uh-huh,
And the ones who, anybody who gives, it's listed as a sponsor on the Facebook event page. And they'll be added to the website. So it's a list of names.
okay. The table, will there be banners on the table? Or is there any way to kind of have the sponsors at the table,
What table?
the, our table?
So we did make a banner with sponsors. And I'll just,
Just because I think that's important to kind of
so
You may have the names of them displayed.
have the names displayed somewhere, not just on a
these,
Facebook plate,
the sponsors that are on the poster are also on this banner.
Okay, great,
Those are like the major sponsors
Right.
are on this banner. And there will be, they're not at our table, they're at the end, one is at this entrance and one is at the main stage.
I'm just wondering, I mean, just roll with me on this, if there was a little mini poster to say additional thanks to the smaller sponsors somewhere, just
I
to-
mean, there's thousands of people will see it and on our newsletter, on our,
I think that's enough, is that what you're saying?
it's what I've told people we would do.
Okay,
And so,
okay,
yes, I think that
I mean, I was
that's,
just throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Well, it's just like next year, there should be a cutoff date. Don't bother asking people for donations after a certain date, because if the poster's printed already, we're gonna run into this again. So, just a thought.
It's all good.
I've let everybody on the business
Yeah, no, it's good.
know, on the street know what they will get.
Okay, all right,
And it's an extra more than $1,000 already. That is very helpful as our price continue to rise.
right, yeah. Okay, so let's move on.
Give them a little
Um,
extra,
I was just thinking it
Potential.
would be nice, just because it was some of the smaller businesses, just to like punch up their, you know, that's all.
I can print something out, but this whole event is for these businesses.
Right.
So
Nope.
I feel like we're doing a lot. And if it's like an extra,
Okay, okay, that's fine.
the donations came from businesses on the
Mhm.
street.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
It's the first time
Right.
in 8.5 years
Right.
that I've asked, and so I asked.
Yeah.
So, and I told them what they get in exchange for that. It's just a standard thing to do, and we're doing what we said we would do.
Okay, great. Perfect. All right.
Because I thought that these were businesses that were off the street.
No, those all happened a long time ago.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Fundraising began last fall.
Yeah.
And money began to come in before the end of December.
Okay.
Is that everything for Cultural Chaos?
I mean, I think so,
What could go
but
wrong?
I feel like, oh my God.
What could
Oh.
go wrong?
Well, I will say, I mean, you reminded me.
Sorry.
It is a national day of protest, Saturday, June 14th.
Yeah, no King
It
Day.
is our president's birthday, and it is,
Flag Day.
Flag Day, thank you. And there are many local protests. And so that was another thing that we talked about at the public safety meeting, just, you know, it's a public street. People have the
The
right
public will be there.
to peacefully protest and express views. And, you know, should anything become disruptive, then we have our public safety team to address issues as necessary. So it's definitely a different climate. You know, in 12 years of planning Cultural Chaos, this is the first time I've been having conversations like this. So it's definitely a change. And yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be fun times.
Cultural Chaos.
Roll Tide.
It will be fun. Yeah. I did notice, I saw Northampton's doing their garden tour on the 14th.
They always do it on
Yeah.
the second.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always on Cultural
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah. they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, I had never made that connection before because now we're doing one, so.
But we're first.
Okay. So, Art Floats, Easthampton. So, Pascaline and I got together to talk about the fundraiser. I think we had mentioned that we were,
The
you know,
fall.
the fall fundraiser before this meeting. So we've been talking and going through ideas, and it's a big, in order to really do it well, I think we really need to like take some time and really plan it. We want this to be a big event. We want it to be kind of we want to make a little bit of a splash. We want it to be a
The
fundraiser. The fundraiser.
Well, yeah.
So, having said that, we were also looking at Art Floats Easthampton and realizing that we've got two big events because Art Floats Easthampton is also going to be this huge event.
With a lot of coordination
With a lot of
that is
coordination.
different. Can I just add
Yeah,
something?
Yeah, please. Do.
You know, do you remember how we were gonna do it in May?
Mhm.
And it was Saturday, May 17th or 18th?
17th, yeah.
17th. And then we didn't because it was the day of the fishing derby and we postponed it. And that morning, I was very aware, you know, it was a rainy morning, it happened to be, but it like cleared up in the afternoon. But I was just started to think about like, oh my God, I'm so glad that we are not doing this event today because Cultural Chaos is like everything, you know, it was like Poetry Month and then we've got Art in the Garden, we've had art walks. So there was just a kind of a real feeling recognition of like, just from a capacity standpoint, like that's a major event. And we weren't thinking we were gonna have people register, like people were just gonna show up and we have to make everything float and like vet, like is this gonna fall off? Is this
Or
gonna
not float.
flow down and not float? Like it's just a different kind of experience than any other event that we've done before. So that, I just wanna add that, like from a capacity standpoint, I started to think then about the fall. like, then we've got this fundraiser, which is a huge opportunity to bring people together for the first time. We haven't done it in a long time. And so the timing of it got me feeling a little bit nervous also.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's best that we push Art Float Easthampton into next year.
Next
And
calendar
really,
year.
in next calendar year, and really, then we can really flesh it out in a real way. Because I feel like, I don't know that we can flesh it out in the way that we really want to, because I think it's gonna be a really beautiful event, and so,
Plus, it can't be hard floats if it's frozen.
right. Except skating.
I mean, art slides, art skates.
Or
Skates
art that becomes trash into the bottom of the pond.
Right.
Easthampton.
So yeah, so just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up on that and see if you had any thoughts or concerns, but I think it's best that we do
No,
that.
probably. And also, it'd give us time to kind of rethink the whole thing, because
Right.
some of the urgency has
Right,
gone out of it,
right, exactly.
has dissipated.
Mhm.
Everybody's moved on.
Yeah.
So if we hold it next year, we can reanimate that whole
I like that.
nightmare.
Exactly, that's
Nightmare on College
something
Street.
that we sort of mentioned as well,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and can it be in summer, like after the spring, like poetry month, like
After cultural chaos.
Yeah.
We were thinking,
Yeah.
we were thinking of the fall because
Yeah.
if we, originally we wanted to like float it in the pond with little lanterns. So it would be getting dark and so there'd be, and it just might be, and it's also without Porch Fest, we don't have a fall program this year or anymore, so that could
But we have the
maybe-
fundraiser this year, and
Yeah.
maybe that would change next year.
Yeah, I
The
don't think we'll have
summer's tricky, like, we were originally trying to plan Art in the Garden in the summer. We went through every weekend and every date, and I was talking with Allison also, and it was like,
It was fast.
people
All of a
are
sudden they're on
gone,
list.
like
Yeah.
they're away, it gets hot, like, it gets really tricky. So,
like early fall, like September.
yeah,
Or could it be like a partner with the festival that's in Nonotuck Park, the Fall Festival?
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting. I like the idea of when we're doing brand new things for us.
Standalone?
No, the opposite, to
okay.
kind of tag along, like that's why Art in the Garden, we did it when there's art walks, so there'd be like double the marketing, like we're sort of like working with something already there to get some like cross promotion and
Yeah.
cross attendance going on. So I find that can be really a good
That still happens
strategy.
in Nonotuck Park, doesn't they still do the Fall Festival, right?
What festival?
It used to be, just sort of, there was a range of things happening, but it was Halloweenish, it was pumpkins and, hayride maybe. It was, I forget, I don't know if the Parks Department does it or I don't know who puts it on. I just know at certain times, like if one of my kids was on a certain team that would volunteer to do something, you would go and like work a little booth or something.
cool. I didn't know anything about Fall Festival. I guess it's just not been on my radar.
Yeah, I think it's sort of ebbed and flowed
Right,
in terms of its
popularity or its
yeah.
outreach or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something to think about.
And so Art Floats Easthampton is next year, and then this fundraiser is
And
this
then we'll,
year?
Mhm.
and then we'll just do the fundraiser. Anything else we need to say about that? Okay, cool. So Easthampton Cultural Council report, Steve is
So I
not
just
here.
heard back from Steve, he's on his way, he forgot, and he's on his way.
Oh,
so we
okay.
can table
So,
it.
so
until
let's table that till he gets here, cause I wasn't at that meeting, unfortunately. So, all right, so now, since we just talked about the ECA fundraiser,
Yes.
let's
Trying to find my little.
chat a little bit about that, or what we kind of talked about, and any updates that you have on that, or outreach that you might have done.
I have, so I'm looking for the text. Now, sorry.
We wanted to hold it somewhere else other than Old Town Hall.
Yeah, so.
Well, I think if we hold it at Old Town Hall, we'll be very limited on,
No, it's very-
you know, sort of,
it's very-
and it will also feel like kind of, you know, it's like a muscle memory, you know, you do an event again and again, and then you put it in the same spot, it will be the same event, whereas we want this to feel a little new and a little different, and we would like to have more people than just, I think it's 100 people that can get in there or something. What's that, do we know?
In the Blue Room?
Yeah,
I mean,
I should know that.
It's more than that.
I
Yeah,
should
it's
It's
know that.
definitely
less.
more than that.
Oh,
what do you
okay.
think, more?
If it's standing room, it's more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole downstairs,
Right,
but.
right.
So, yeah, we had talked about doing it in a different place. I contacted the Jupiter Club
Nice.
at Eastworks and had a great talk with Catherine. We have never met, and it was just like a little cold call and ask, and she was like super great. And I kind of, so the vision is to kind of like have some different table, like to do a silent auction, to bring in some of ECA history, maybe some bears, you know, like maybe some, like make a timeline wall of ECA, you know, just the last 20 years. So, you know, looking at it as a 20th anniversary celebration and fundraiser. And, you know, maybe like a photo booth and maybe having like, you know, a restaurant or someone
they have
come
a bar
in.
Hey,
Yeah, they have a bar, but yeah, I talked to her about food. They have a kitchen,
we're
they have a
talking about the
caterer.
ECA fundraiser.
And so basically all this to say, so we're talking about the Jupiter Club. And all this to say, like, so it's a big open room, but we'd be adding some things in the room. Like, we wanna create a space. So I asked her, so I said, we're looking at Thursday, December 4th, with an event from 6 to 9 p.m. I asked her if we could get there, be in the room from noon till 10, so just like a nice afternoon to set up and like make it beautiful. So because this is a community organization and a fundraiser, they will completely, let me finish all the sentences before everyone gets, you know, too ahead of things. They will completely donate the space, and that would have been a few $1,000s, like their hourly rates, even with the range. So, but they have to hire staff at their standard rate, and they ask that the occupant does that. And that includes, so for those 8 hours, it would include help with setup, breakdown, cleaning, use of their tables and linens, and a bar staff. The total would be $600.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
I know.
Oh, that's,
Today.
I know, that's too much.
In
Sign on the
2025.
line.
Hold on,
like,
there's
really?
one more piece, but yes,
Hold
that
on,
is
there's
a,
more, but wait,
that
there's
is a
more.
thing. So they do want us to keep the cap, including staff, volunteers, their staff, at around 225. Which is, I mean, that's
Doable.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to the $600, so it would be a cash bar.
Yeah.
They would make the cash.
Mm.
So there will also be a $1,500 bar minimum based on just 100 guests, well below your expected count. you're not responsible for paying that amount directly, it's just the goal for the bar sales. For example, if your guests spend $1,300 at the bar, you'd only owe the $200 difference. But with 200 plus guests, I don't think it'll be an issue at all.
Okay.
I think,
Yeah,
That's
and,
awesome.
and, you know, people like to have cocktails at these kind of things.
glass of wine,
Yeah.
like, and it's all there. So if we were doing this at many other places that would be options, we'd be bringing all of that in, which we've always done in the past. So it's a nice, you know, feature.
I mean,
Thursday,
yeah.
Thursday night.
It would be Thursday, December 4th.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah,
space.
it's really, it will be nice. We can make that space nice.
Fundraiser
like-
And there's
Ready.
plenty of
yeah.
parking,
Right.
like
Yeah.
all those things.
I have a sudden brainstorm.
What?
If it's the 20th anniversary, we should get, I mean, I was thinking Easthampton Media, we should get, on my program, get Burns, Denise, Marlies, Marcia, any of those people who were there at the beginning, the organizers, who are still around,
Ellen Coteen
have interviews. You know, just,
at the thing or projected?
or projected, yeah.
We should make a video.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
Make a
great
Make a
video,
video.
yeah,
We
that-
should
yeah.
make a, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you
Can we
know,
work with you on that?
oh yeah,
Great. No, it's great.
that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Can we start this summer? Kind of like brainstorming it out?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, I could help with that too.
Great.
And all the people who were there, I mean, people I know, the ones I mentioned, there were a lot of people in the room in those ECA meetings in
Yeah.
those days, and I don't remember most of those people.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah,
Really beautiful.
It'd be nice to recognize those guys for
right,
what they've
right,
done.
yeah.
Maybe we can talk, I mean, I know it's like a week and a half away, but maybe we could get some little snippets from Cultural Chaos. Easthampton Media will be there. I
Yeah,
could
they'll be
ask them if they could do that.
Yeah,
Get some little pieces for the film. What has ECA meant to you?
Yeah, I'll stop there tomorrow and see what they have.
Okay. Beautiful.
yeah, that'd be great.
Love it.
I mean, we could even air that in the, like at the beginning, before the band starts, like have a little mini, you know,
Yeah.
like a.
There's gonna be a band?
We're gonna
Yeah,
have
we're gonna
music.
have music, yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna be like it'll be kind of part of the party.
We should have donuts.
We made donuts there. They have a big kitchen.
We can't use their kitchen is the only thing.
Who's using their kitchen?
We have a truck.
Well, not
Ish.
that one we put. And
Well,
literally,
what
It's
we were
December,
thinking
after
about
all.
is
Might be too
having,
cold.
and I don't know if this is something you, like different restaurants have different booths, so that we could either do it we could have different restaurants doing booths, or we get somebody to do one big spread. But if we were to do different booths, maybe, could you do like a little pop-up? Do you need a kitchen?
I mean, we make our donuts like to order, so like we.
I know, but you do it at Cultural Chaos with a tent.
Yeah, so we
Can
can
you
do
do-
it outside.
But they have like a
Oh, you
fryer.
got the
It's a
fryer,
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
This is
Okay,
December too,
yeah,
it's gonna be cold.
Yeah,
Um,
Well, anyways, that's all.
well, we can,
yeah, I mean, I think like chili cook-off is always fun on cold weather, but I think the Nashawanic, they do that for
They do
Winterfest.
that,
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's an indoor event, I mean, I think people it'll be a hard sell to have people go out to a food truck,
Yeah.
I think. I don't think people would go do that, so, anyway, but we were thinking about different restaurants, local
Yeah.
businesses to set up, and that still could be fun.
Is the scope kind of refreshments and light bites, or is it like dinner replacement
I think
to
we
like
have
what's
to
the ticket price kind
We
of
have
thing?
to
think
yeah.
about it. I think it all depends too, like on cost, like that's a
Yeah.
big thing. How much are our tickets?
Yeah.
How much are we paying for food? That all becomes part of what we plan. So in the past, we haven't done one of these since 2019. So it's been a long time. We usually start planning in the summer, and we do like every 3 weeks kind of get together. And then we kind of craft together a picture, a vision. We'll put a budget together and how much do we want to spend, how much do we anticipate making, what are some different ways we can engage people. I did hear from Ellen Coteen this past week where she's one of the founders of ECA and like did the first fundraising for ECA and like helped us become a thing. And she was thinking, and we had talked about this in the cultural district committee. You okay?
I just pulled a tick off of myself.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Here's a tissue if that can help a
Just got
little
one
bit.
last Sky yesterday.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
out
I'm
there.
sorry.
I picked up 2 in my backyard the other day.
Sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
Weird interruption.
So you
Yeah,
talked
we
to
had talked,
Ellen.
yeah, so she had suggested like a bear reunion, like getting bears from Bear Fest together. We talked about that in the cultural district committee about cultural chaos this year. It gets a little tricky with transportation and liability, like a bunch of things came up. But it's not to say it's impossible, and if we had more time to plan for that, maybe it's not all the bears, but maybe it's some bears. Like, we have access to some of them, it could be just a sweep, maybe part of the photo booth, like, I don't know. I think it would be nice to bring some ECA history.
I think so too. If we could, even if we got 3 bears, that could be
We
a
could do
cute,
3
that could
bears.
be a cute photo,
The 3 bears.
with the,
Yeah, that's sweet.
so,
We could get 3 bears.
yeah.
Um,
And-
Goldilocks.
So we were talking about the cost of the tickets. You said in 2019, do you remember what the cost was?
I think, so it was
$20 or
always
something?
sliding scale,
Yeah.
and it started, like, for the last many years, it started at $20. Like,
I think we could up it, I don't know, maybe we have a discussion about that as
Yeah.
it gets fleshed out more.
Definitely.
yeah, and I think too, like, we haven't been asking many local businesses for sponsorship in years, like since before COVID. And I think it would be a really wonderful opportunity to bring in, more local businesses to be, acknowledged as helping to make it happen. And yeah, I mean, we're only gonna turn 20 once. And so I do think that it is an opportunity to raise some funds for future programming. I will just say, I think financially, we have been receiving thousands of dollars from Massachusetts Cultural Council per year for our 20-year history. And that money mostly comes from federal funding. And there are big question marks all over that. So I do think that, it's a very real thing as a community arts organization to be thinking about our future and support and what support can look like and where support can come from financially and otherwise. So I do think that there is an opportunity here as a 20th anniversary fundraiser to really want to do all we can to raise funds for, future years at ECA.
I think it's gonna be really great, Love the idea of the video, love the idea of the timeline and bringing in pieces of history, of having music, because you have to have music and food. I mean, I volunteered at Habitat for Humanity. They do what they call the Feast every year. It's their fundraiser. And I photograph for them. And but they have all these restaurants that come in, and then they have awards. Just kind of, there's not certificate and then like a prize, but they have awards for best food, best dessert, best looking food, best beverage, and they have a Glendale Ridge come in, and Smithsonian Chowder Place, and Fitzwillies, and some Northampton-based restaurants. But I thought we could even do something similar,
There are some great ideas
Yeah.
and ways to bring other people in, like the Brattleboro Museum of Art. I don't know if you all are aware, they have children draw monsters, and then glass artists create the monsters out of glass, and they have a big show, and it's a big event. There are others that, like potters, make bowls, and you pay the money, and then everyone eats, and then somehow everyone ends up with this like beautiful bowl. Like, I think that I like these ideas because they really kind of call on community to make it happen and like is what it is, but it's also like it's very integrated, and
Right,
it's
right.
like it's like we're all creating this celebration together. And I think that there's time. I mean, I think that, after cultural chaos, after the end of June, things really will quiet down, and it's like time to plan for the next. So I think it's great that we have the kind of time we'll need to make it really special. So maybe at our next meeting, we can talk about the fundraiser planning team. We cannot have a quorum on the team, so we can't have 4 people. It has to be fewer than 4 people on that if you're interested. It's, and then we'll invite members of the community who want to be a part of that as well. So it's nice. It's like a fun kind of planning experience if you're into that kind of thing.
Right. Awesome. So Steve, you want to give us the cultural council report?
Yeah. So the main thing that we did in the last meeting was we met 2 members who have since kind of like confirmed that they want to join,
Oh,
and
great.
they're writing letters to the mayor. One is CJ from Dry Humor, the new
Cool.
non-alcoholic spot, and then the other is a guy named Jude who is just kind of like he's relatively new to Easthampton and wants to get more connected. So that's great because, as you know, we missed our April meeting because we
Right.
couldn't have a quorum.
Right.
So that's awesome. We also discussed our project for like our public art project, be $4,000 to spend this year. And what I think we're going to do, and I reached out just this week to Greg Nuttleman, we're gonna try to do a transformer mural or 2. So pick a transformer. I'm thinking the one in front of the Congregationalist Church over in Maine and Union right there, and paint it.
Can it be a transformer on a transformer?
What is the situation with the one here?
So what happened with the one here is, so there was a Power to the People by Amy Johnquist. That had been an ECA project years ago, and it was taken down and replaced as part of the Union Street redesign. And it is in storage at DPW, and we are talking as a public art committee about, and with the artist, about where that could be placed. So that it would not be a functioning electrical unit, but it could be a sculpture that's placed somewhere. So we'll be talking about that. So one thing, just as city committees go, any public art that's on city property, and like you are right now, like please let ECA know that it's happening, because that's one thing we run into, is that people just like start doing stuff, but we're like, most of our projects take years to like plan and implement. So like there have been times where we're like have a space in mind and then like something gets put up there and we're like, wait a minute, like, you know, so it's good that we're talking, and I think that that's great. That's
Yeah,
great to
I mean,
hear.
we're still, I have to find out if it's even possible. I'm waiting to hear from Greg, but because we had originally talked about doing something at the library annex, and just because they haven't actually, they're all about that project, and I know you had discussed something with them, but until they actually own the building,
Yeah.
nothing's really gonna happen
Yeah,
there.
well, that may be a while,
Right, that's,
years in fact.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, really?
Well, the ESB owns the building. They have deeded the use of the building to the library. It's a phased-in thing. So the library
We had-
will, not the city,
Yeah.
but the library will own the building at some point,
Right.
but not yet.
Okay, but I thought they were opening up, like slowly, I thought they were.
Yeah, no, the annex is open for
Oh,
events
So they're
and meetings.
using it.
Any other renovations there's a phase two.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see,
just
okay.
Sort of started
Yeah, what you're talking
beginning.
yeah, they originally, we went down a path with them where they were excited and it was like a go for a while, and then ESB said they want nothing done to the exterior, so.
And the funny thing is that the ECA Public Art Committee was also talking about doing, we're talking about a mosaic mural project, and we were talking about the library. And so I called Katya, who had just talked to Steve, and she just thought I was talking about the same thing. And then I learned from her that they were thinking the same thing. So we talked about all getting together maybe this summer and thinking about a project, working together for next year, but
Whatever the
We'll
timeline will
see.
be. When
Yeah.
I
it
don't know.
does
But that's, like,
happen,
good
I
to-
think they
yeah.
are, it's a good opportunity to collaborate, but
Yeah,
it's on their timeline.
No, getting back to Amy's, weren't we gonna repaint that? It faded?
we did,
Oh, you did.
she did,
Okay.
years ago.
Oh.
That happened.
We-
Check.
yeah, so we need to find a good spot for that. So, yeah, okay, great, that's good news. All right, so, we've got some ongoing discussions, the marketing position and
Yes.
art workspace, so.
So the marketing position, I definitely want to talk about this. It's very timely. I introduced it at the last meeting. And so basically, we've been working with Olive since September. I think we all know the value that having a part-time marketing person at ECA has, like, the good it has brought. It has been so good. there used to be a lot of inconsistency, you know, with me posting. And it's like having these daily posts, it just like has increased our engagement. You know, there's always a lot going on at ECA, but there was always, you know, often a gap. People didn't know what was going on at ECA, or they'd find out like that morning sometimes, you know. It has been like, as our organization grows, as our reach grows, I am really feeling the difference. It's like, I'll check in like, oh, what's, you know, what have the posts been? And I'm just like, wow, like, knowing what's on my plate, I know it would have been really hard to do that too. And I used to struggle with it because in a way it felt like a simple thing to be able to do, but it's also a mindset and a way to give attention. And so we had all talked about that Olive would work beginning in September through December. We revisit for a 6-month, you know, I'll mention just in case I should put the minutes. The question of having a part-time city arts coordinator is still a topic of discussion. It would not go through this budget cycle. Did I talk about this at the last
You
meeting?
did.
It's in the meeting, okay. But there could be funding from the state that could go toward the veterans position, and if that happens, the city is saying that there is a possibility it could go to the City Arts Court, a part-time, 20-hour-a-week City Arts Coordinator. It would be amazing. That meeting won't happen until July, so it'll be like after, and I don't know what that process looks like and how long it takes and how decisions get made after that. So for the time being, and then Olive is going to be leaving the area and has committed to the end of June, which is like tomorrow. It's so soon. So one thing that I mentioned last month that I think is important to be a part of this conversation. So when we hired Olive, we were looking for a marketing person. We were not at the same time looking for a graphic design person. However, Porch Fest was coming up and I'm like, could you make a poster? And she's like, totally. And then made a great poster. And then all of these like programs, like all of the branding for the 20th anniversary has been so integral. It's like, let's make a slide for each of our exhibiting artists each month. Like, let's do this, let's do that. And so it's really like integrated into our presence, like our online presence. And I think it's great. And so I think it's actually a little unusual to get a graphic design skill set in an assisted marketing position. Like it can happen, but it's not necessarily. So because it's our 20th anniversary, I would love to work with Olive before the end of June, maybe into the first couple weeks of July, which she has expressed she's able to do that, to continuing with graphic design through the year. And she can even make a program slide for our fundraiser and then like fill in the title, the this, the that, make a poster at the end. But like we've worked with different graphic designers, not all of them are Easthampton based. Like I just feel like that's going to be a trickier piece to fill if we don't continue working with her. So I would love to continue, and she's open to continuing to do graphic design. So I think through the year, for the rest of our year's programming, to at least keep with the family of marketing materials, I think would just be great. But in terms of like social media, we need to find somebody else. And if we're taking the graphic design piece away, I think we could reasonably go back down to Olive started at 5 hours a week. And I think we could actually do that for marketing. We can talk about it. Going to Art Walk and so I will just say this. So another piece of this conversation, so we have to hire someone. I'd love to try to hire someone soon. We have, and I haven't talked about this, I don't think here. I'm sorry, I can't remember what I mentioned last meeting or not, but so ECA, oh no, I think I did mention it. ECA is getting a $6,000 a year grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for the next 3 years. We don't have to keep applying. The funding came in, and that was the result. Did I talk about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Of like our youth arts initiative, 3 years in a row, and then, okay. So that is an operations grant. It's for operations. It could go to rent. It could go to anything we want it to go to. I think it's a great thing. It's a great fund to put toward a marketing assistant. Until there's I think we revisit this and I think we're clear that this is like a part-time kind of limited thing, because I think if we find out in August or September that we can have a part-time city arts coordinator, which would just be amazing, then it's like that person would then absorb that work.
Right.
I mean, that would be part of it.
All right, I think it's necessary, yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking about the piece around like marketing and design. I feel like they go so much hand in hand. And in my experience, a lot of people who do marketing outreach have design experience. And then it's really continuous, like to be able to put together the slides for this thing and then in the same brand world create the poster and this and that.
It's true. It's been so nice.
And then you get someone who's a little bit more invested if they have more than 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
And like the scope is just that much bigger.
Mhm.
And I think those people exist and they exist locally.
Yeah,
So I would just recommend having one role that combines the design with the outreach, because I think a lot of comms people can do design work.
Okay.
And maybe it's not like super complex design, but nowadays all of the design like applications are so like user friendly.
I mean, it's like being able to use Canva is 90% of it.
Yeah.
Which I think most people can.
Is that what
That's what
Olive's
Olive's
using?
using.
Yeah, I mean, like I do that for my work. I do
Yeah.
both the design work and all the outreach stuff and like, but yeah, it's doing it.
I mean, one thing you could start thinking about either to have Olive do, or it's kind of touchy because it's kind of like you want to kind of get a brand book or a brand Bible of like
Olive is
everything.
making that.
So
we've
that
been-
if Olive isn't around, someone else could step into the role.
Yeah.
That is something from the get-go, I was gonna mention that like, we've been like Olive's organization, like it's all in Google Doc and these Google folders, it's so easy to access, but basically Olive's gonna create a little packet for whoever's coming in to say like, here are the templates, like here's the this, here's the that, blah, 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 blah. Like the fonts, the this, and then maybe for next year, we started to like tweak some of those things. And like, it's no longer the 20th anniversary year, but now we've got this whatever other look and feel.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And I appreciate that because it's like a good reminder to me that like those things actually can, and like the world is changing
And it can
My
make it more
sense of it
streamlined.
isn't.
Yeah.
So that's a helpful reminder.
Like, I have no graphic design experience, but I, for years, have had marketing positions where I've created flyers and things. But like, I'm not drawing or coming up with a new graphic. That's not something I do. I will take clip art, I will make photo montage things, but like, if that's like a real graphic designer, and that's like the heavy duty stuff that I don't do.
Well, I don't think ECA does either,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I think the majority of the materials that
Yeah.
I've seen,
Yeah.
most of us could do.
Stock stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is, and I think that, and also, I mean, I'll say I work very closely with Olive on the design of all of the things.
Mm-hmm. And they
Like, there's a
look
lot
great,
of back and forth.
actually,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, exactly, but like, it's the kind of thing like, even if I could do it, it wouldn't get done. So like, having this extra person, it's like really fantastic. And I think the piece about, it's almost like an in-house graphic designer when it's all about this like interface with the community is really great. Like someone who comes to the event, someone who's helping out at Art in the Garden, like made the poster, like there is an understanding, it's very different than like a little more helicopter, or that's not a great, but you know, satellite approach to the design work, so.
And I do think I like what you said about the investment, because I feel like 5 hours is not really enough to, I mean, even if you're just doing social media, I feel like it has to at least be 10 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, and I feel like, yeah, because 5 hours, people are like, yeah, what? I just feel
And then
like,
you've got
yeah,
3
yeah.
other jobs, and
Right,
this is
right,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
last thing on the agenda.
Right. So I think,
Literally
I
doing
think
that
the
right
more,
now for-
yeah,
And
the
maybe
more you
it could
can
be
do.
like up to 10 hours a week, because if our next event isn't for months, it really, like, we've had so many events, and like all of the art walk slides have been made through the rest of the year. All, like, a lot of this stuff has already been made, so maybe So if it's,
But like coming up to the 20th anniversary, right? Like
yeah, there's
doing
gonna be
reels
more.
from the interviews,
Totally.
doing reels from cultural chaos, doing, like there's a lot of stuff
Totally.
that could be done around pulling the history
Totally.
and making a lot of content around that too.
Content creating, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna propose that and also I will say, I liked the let's do this, let's try this, let's revisit this. I think that is we're a small scale operation here, and I think that was kind of good all around. So if it's 10 hours a week at $20 an hour, that's $200 a week. For the rest of the year, if it's starting in July, it would be like $4,400. And we have the 6,000 from the Massachusetts Cultural Council for operations. That we use that money toward this position in that way.
Yeah, should we vote on that? Does anybody wanna make a motion? Or I can make a motion.
What she said.
Yeah.
Make a motion, what she said.
So
That we
moved.
appropriate,
Let's call it $4,500.
$4,500 to fund the position of part-time ECA marketing position
A 10-hour a week.
A 10-hour week at $20 an hour.
at 20, yeah.
Second.
Wait a second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Now, in terms of finding this person, last time around, we were in a crunch. We put this out at internship fairs, at schools. We didn't get bites back. And then it was coming up on, we were getting a little on time, and we reached out to someone I knew. Is this the kind of thing where it would be nice to write up a job description, put it out? I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And then in that case, we would have a process. And there needs to be a timeline on the process. There needs to be different people reviewing applications. I mean, I have the job description. It was an internship description, but it could be turned into a job description. I don't think that anything, Cultural Chaos is June 14th. The process will take longer than, we won't have someone for July 1st.
Right.
But we could schedule a bunch of posts.
Yeah.
For the month of July, and I need to think it through a little bit, but just in terms of timeline. But to aim to have someone in
August
by
1st.
mid-August.
August, yeah. I mean, I could ask Zoe from City Space if she knows, people, because she's, I could.
Well, we'll make the
yeah,
job
yeah,
description
yeah.
and we'll put it out, and you can
Is
share
she
it
also
with.
still part-time?
She's, yeah, I guess she's
Ish.
considered part-time, she's 30 hours or something, but she's there a lot, so.
Yeah, she is.
They them.
They,
You're there a lot.
thank you.
Okay. I'll base it on the same internship description, but I'll add the graphic design piece. So why don't I do that and send it out to the group so you can look at it and
Sure.
add anything?
All right.
I'll do that.
I think just put don't emphasize graphic design experience with Canva. And
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
That's really good.
layout, basic social and print material layout kind of thing.
So how about we'll announce this? Really, we would announce it sooner rather than later is better.
Yeah, the sooner you get the ball rolling, I mean, things take time.
Mhm.
The whole process.
I know, I just,
You don't wanna get too much going on in the next 2 weeks, right?
yeah, like even just thinking about it, my brain is like very active right now because if we put it out, there will be emails and questions, like it's opening a door. And it makes me a little bit nervous knowing what's on the plate for the
Well,
next,
do you wanna
it's only a
announce
week and a
it
half.
after cultural
Could we
chaos?
announce it after cultural chaos?
Yes.
Okay.
You could even you could do July 1st, because cultural chaos, I'm sure there's also a bit of
There's a lot of follow-up, but I
Yeah.
think that the week after cultural chaos is fine. I think like,
23rd or whatever, is that Monday?
so we have our cultural chaos debrief on the 18th. Can we say by June 25th at the latest?
25th, yeah. Okay.
Sometimes things just like kind of come over me and I'll just like blah, 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 write something up. I'll send it, like maybe I'll do that sooner rather than later, but if not before cultural chaos, then soon after. So everything's in place. And then, so if we announced June 25th, if we gave people 3 weeks to apply, is that enough? So then, deadline is July 16th. And then we should all, whoever's on that review, let's meet on July 22nd. This is how things get done, and then we would hope that the person could get started the week of August 4th. But we can be flexible. And that person should be able to come to all of the fundraiser planning meetings. So I'm gonna add that, like some event support to the position.
I mean, that's kind of the whole thing.
I mean, so here's the thing, if we do, so it's kind of like a mini city arts coordinator. This position we want to get funded by the city. That's strange because if we,
It's not a mini, it's an assistant.
no, but so the city arts coordinator position that we're talking with the mayor about is a 20-hour-a-week
Right,
position.
yeah.
It would be called city arts coordinator.
What's your job?
I'm the arts and culture program
Oh.
director.
Okay.
And so if we are able to hire that person, we would not have an extra 10-hour-a-week position.
Right, but I don't think it's necessarily the person that we're gonna hire for 10 hours.
No,
It's
I'm
like,
not
yeah.
saying that, but I'm saying if we're hiring someone,
We can't do both.
we can't
Can't have both.
say,
Oh,
Is doing
right,
this is
'cause
tricky.
Is doing marketing and outreach part of the coordinator job?
definitely. It like really we would want that.
Do you have
And
any idea of the timeline
Yeah,
for
when
when
you
the
find
state
out?
would decide on the
Yeah,
veterans
so
thing?
what I heard was like after the budget season, which like June 3rd, so after June 30th in like July, August. So it's really, we don't wanna postpone,
I think,
why don't I
Yeah.
find out more
Yeah, you're gonna need
information on
more
that
to know.
and how plausible it actually, I don't wanna postpone something if it's
And the other
not.
part, does the city council meet during the summer? Because if they have to backfill or approve certain things, if they're not gonna be
They
meeting, then
It might be reduced.
I think it's a reduced instead of every
Once a
other week,
month.
it's
once a month.
once a month. Why don't I do that first?
Yeah.
Is like check in.
Because we're gonna need to know if that's gonna really happen. and kind of win.
Yeah.
Because that, this other position is in the balance of it.
I know.
Do you need like temporary support though in that gap potentially? I mean, cause that is something you could probably put together and like scoop someone up for like a 3-month, whatever, like mini contract.
And would it be horrible if there was overlap? I mean, like, how long would it take to, if you find out in August that you can
If I
get
go
a,
from no staff to a 20-hour-a-week person and a 10-hour-a-week person, and I only work 36 hours, that's a lot of, I mean, it would be great in certain ways, but it's not what I would recommend. If we have a 20-hour-a-week position, that's a lot of hours.
what I'm saying, if you get somebody for a, you say, I don't know, just
Oh,
until
if it's
December.
just-
You say,
till
this is gonna be, you know, goes till December 31st, and then you find out that you have somebody for the 20-hour-week
I
position.
mean, that would be
That may take a
amazing.
while also to find, and that starts, that's gonna
I don't
start in
think that's gonna
November.
happen
That's
right
gonna,
away.
you're right, that's gonna be a big
Yeah, that's gonna take even,
that's like HR, mayor's office, that's like okay, so, I mean, this would be such a gold mine. So
August
we'll
through
still
December.
do August through December. And then if we get this amazing part-time person, city employee, then we can like look at the roles and,
No, would it be, I'm just thinking in terms of budget, this 20-hour-a-week position is coming out of the city's budget, not our.
yes,
So actually, if we had, now, the second part of that is, do we have enough work for 2 people, plus you?
it would be, yes, we do. Because there's so many things, like longer term things that don't happen.
So,
Like,
in a
just-
way,
We could make a strategic plan, like we could do lots of
Yeah.
things.
so in a way, having a person that we're paying for out of this cultural, whatever that grant, that has nothing to do with the other, fiscal, that has nothing to do with the other.
Correct.
So we could have both, in fact.
We could have both.
Yeah.
I don't,
I thought you were saying you didn't like that idea.
At first I was a little like, that's a lot, but then I just relaxed into the reality. I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing. Wait, why am I getting in the way of
Well, it takes
what
some
would be
money.
I don't need any
awesome?
help, I can do it all myself.
No, thank you.
I mean-
Sorry, it was just a
Yeah.
moment of like, wow, like, yeah,
So,
I mean, I
no.
don't think if they decide to do a position, that's not gonna happen right away. So
It's really
to be
not.
honest with you, I don't think it's gonna really overlap
Right.
that much.
Right.
So I don't think it's an issue.
And this way, all of our bases are covered.
Yeah.
I think part of my hesitation initially was like, if we knew that was gonna happen, we wouldn't probably be
Yeah.
looking
No,
for
no,
this.
we
That
wouldn't,
would
yeah.
be part
would be
of
part
what
of
the
that,
person would do. But because of all these variables and unknown timelines and our known need to be as seamless as possible with this transition and with our 20th anniversary coming up, I mean, I think that's like a real,
We'd be wise to assume it's not gonna happen, but have a contingency plan for if it does.
exactly.
So in the meantime, you're gonna still look for
Yeah.
Yeah.
the position, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Great. I'll wanna talk to Allison about this, just process-wise, like
Yeah.
who should be on that committee, like how,
Yeah.
for a, just,
Okay.
I'll wanna learn more.
Okay, cool. Anything else on that? Can we move on to
Yeah.
Our workspace Easthampton?
Yeah. So, in terms of, since our last meeting, so we have been talking with Thick, the Heavy Culture Collective, about renting space in the former massage school building. And that building has still not yet been purchased. It's still in a process. We cannot advertise programming in a building that is still in a process. And the other big piece to all this is that The second floor of the building, which is where we had been talking about putting Art Workspace Easthampton, does not have access by means of an elevator or a lift. And so we cannot, as a municipal organization, as a responsible and conscientious organization, have a public program in a space that's not accessible to members of the public. Initially, when we were talking with Thick, there was a plan in place. They had done gotten some quotes. They said, we hope to have it be funded by a grant. In the event that it can't, it's something that could be paid for. There's been some new understandings of the costs involved in doing that, and the timeline is just very up in the air. I did speak with Allison. I did speak with our buildings director, and things are up in the air. Like there's so I feel like until there's more clarity on the ownership of the building and a plan to make it ADA accessible, that like we're a little on hold. I've expressed this much to Ian because I understand, as much as we'd love to partner in the event that like this all works out in the ways that it's being planned for, I also don't want them to be like, wait, like if they need to rent the space, they also need to rent the space, and that's a reality. So we left it as like, we will keep each other posted type of thing. The other piece is because this sort of like woke up the whole Art Workspace Easthampton residency program, I did reach back out to Keystone to just check in to see, because the owners own Keystone and Paragon, like are there spaces? And they do not have any spaces that are on the main floor and would be ADA accessible. There are spaces, she said, in Paragon that would require use of a freight elevator, which requires a second person, which is not. Service. Yeah, it's not. It would, and they understood that too. It is not a viable option for us. So those are the updates.
There's a space at the end of that building. Used to be, it's right next. There's the driveway.
Which building?
Between the Legion, at the end of Paragon. It's kind of jets out in the front. This big for lease sign on the front. Yeah. It's been on there forever.
It's a huge. I mean, that's like alone at like 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, I mean it's
was
big.
It the furniture shop?
Used to be a woodworking shop of some sort. Yeah. I don't know what it is you're envisioning, but there seems to be a space, but it may not be accessible. I don't know. I just whenever I drive down there, I keep seeing that sign there, because for a brief moment, Easthampton Media was considering taking a look at that space. We never did, but.
Interesting.
Where is that?
If you drive down Pleasant Street, at the very end of Mill 180 or Paragon, just before the driveway that goes between the Legion and the building, so it jets out in the front. So you can't miss it.
What about also Building 8, where is that Building 8 abandoned brewery? It feels like there's, I don't know, empty spaces in there or not, or that's also kind of one of those raw space feeling.
I mean, I spoke with her. We reviewed sort of the needs and the specs and the pieces. It might be that space is too large. I mean, we don't want 10,000 square feet, and making it smaller is very complicated, especially if you're looking to rent it. So, I mean, we've been talking with them for years, and heard back, and like she checked, she took time to look through everything, but it's just, and she did say that she would keep us in mind if anything was to come up. She would let us know.
Okay.
So.
What about that auto parts building?
I mean, that would be.
So many people would come up to us when we were selling donuts across the way and ask about it. Like, Jimmy from Aurora, the jewelry, like everyone, what's the story with this? I wanna buy this building, I wanna buy this building. Someone bought it 5 years ago and it's just sitting there.
Well, it's just been recently emptied out, and
It's still, so the people that sold the building to the woman who bought it are still there. They were, the machine shop people are, it's been 5 years of them slowly like moving out, but their lease on some other building fell apart, so
it's not
they've
back.
been just renting the space. And that's the story.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's a discussion to just continue, whether it happens at Thick, or another space. I mean, I know it's not gonna happen anytime soon, but, you know, as things shift in the area, maybe
Well,
other,
it could.
you know.
I mean, the building, so the last I heard, you know, it's been like within the next 2 weeks and then, you know, within the next month and then before the end of May. I haven't heard that it sold since the other day. So, but then I think when it sells all at once and then that's like one big piece has been addressed. I know that they're applying for a grant right now for the elevator. So I think if there's a plan in place, then we can like have a discussion about that. If the plan is like 4 months from now, that's one thing. If the plan is like with, you know, a year from now, I think that's a very different timeline. So
Be discussed further, I guess, as.
yeah. So, I mean, maybe we can keep it on the agenda as a placeholder conversation, so if and as things come up, we can continue to talk about it.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's almost it. Does anybody have new business?
I just had one thing just wanted to make folks aware of is that there's a new, you know, the music store, all the instruments and everything right there on Cottage.
Yeah.
It's been empty for a while. It was just leased to someone who is going to buy it. So they lease it for 2 months. They're going to be buying it, and it's gonna turn into karaoke rooms.
Interesting.
Like music and other things. It'll be like a music and gathering space with karaoke as a thing.
Oh,
So
another
And
music
private
place,
room
like
setup.
how many music places
very
do
interesting.
we need in Easthampton? I mean, all right, but
also
karaoke,
Platinum Pony.
yeah, awesome,
so another little fixture within the cultural district.
Mm-hmm.
very cool.
And Black Labyrinth Tattoo will be moving
Yeah.
in this summer, which will be another art walk
Oh,
spot.
CJ Dry Humor, I don't know if she's talked to you, but she wants to be involved in Art Walk.
Yeah.
She is this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our next meeting is attached to a holiday weekend.
Oh, it's the 7th. That's the Monday after the holiday. I mean, I don't know if that's a problem.
I'm around.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
just making sure. Okay.
I mean, I think the weekend is a weekend and then Monday starts fresh.
Yeah.
So let's keep that if we can.
Yep.
All right. Well, meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Woohoo.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.